Welcome on in, Mets family, and I welcome you to another edition of Mets Digest with your co-host, of course, your guy, Michael DeAngelo. As you see on the screen, hope everyone has a good weekend so far, and I know the Mets training staff is not, as Kodai Senga makes his season debut Friday night against the Atlanta Braves, and 6 innings into his start immediately goes down with a high-grade calf sprain. We will break down everything that is going on within that, and with that probably comes that the Mets will be in the market for a starting pitcher, and we will break down some options that they can look at coming down to this trade deadline. We are 3 days away from the deadline, and the Mets are going to have to definitely look deeper into the market to make some moves to possibly put a Band-Aid on this very significant injury to this team. And we will give a full breakdown of what's going on. But before I get started, come on, you know what's coming, right? Grimace is telling you to subscribe. Please. We are at over 770 subscribers. By the time this video uploads, we might be at 800. Who knows? We are the fastest growing Mets channel on this app right now, and you might as well just hop on the train right now. We are looking to get at 1,000 subscribers before the trade deadline, which is in 3 days. So please help us out by hitting that subscribe button. Me and Flobo Boys have been we have been just pumping these videos out for you guys constantly. Sometimes we're at multiple uploads a day, but we are basically at least one upload a day. So if you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on, Mets related, roster news, trades, cuts, injuries, and whatever else, rumors, make sure you subscribe and tune right in here to Mets Digest, and we will have it all for you here coming up and coming right now, actually. So with that, 95% of you guys that are watching these videos aren't even subscribed. So why? I don't know. I don't know. It beats me. If we're popping up on your recommended page and you're not subscribed but you're still watching, what do you do? Just hit the subscribe button. Just help us out. Help a brother out, man. We are a brand new channel here, and we are doing what the Mets family wants us to do, and that is creating content for you guys and putting out Mets content that is relevant to the trade deadline and everything past that. And I'm gonna get right into it here, and I'm just gonna throw up this image and just I don't even know, barf at it. Man, I was there last night. I was there Friday night, Citi Field, Braves and Mets, to go up and take the top wild card spot. Kodai Senga back on the mound. It was electric. I mean, the cheers for strikeouts were louder than ever before this season. The crowd was fully filled in by the third inning. And, he gave up a 2-run homer to Adam Duvall in the third inning. But after that, pretty much settled in, and was just had at least one strikeout per inning in his start. And then in the 6th inning, Adam Duvall hits a pop fly. Senga goes over to cover first, and he strains his calf. And it did not look good at first. I was walking around the concourse when it happened, and I just remember just hearing the big groan from the crowd as it happened, and just seeing him on the ground. I mean, it was just heart dropping. There was no other way to describe it. And the Mets reports came back. MRI pretty much negative. I'm thinking on any tears, because we probably would have found out already. They recently did place him on the 15-day IL with a left calf strain. And Carlos Mendoza said in his press conference earlier this afternoon that he will most likely be out for the entire regular season. It is a high-grade calf strain, and it is heart-wrenching. It is really it's difficult to make this video first off because you guys saw the previous videos how excited I was for him to come back, as well as every other Mets fan probably was. And this was like our big acquisition at the deadline. Like there was no other trade asset that was going to be bigger than this. This was our big our big deadline acquisition was getting Kodai Senga back on the mound, and having our ace pitcher back, and this happens. It's horrible. It's like it was almost like Edwin Diaz all over again. Like, he wasn't even like running that hard. He was just like on a brisk jog over to first base, and boom, it happens. And like same thing with Edwin Diaz. He was just celebrating, jumping up and down like nothing crazy, and boom, he tears his patellar tendon. Like it's the same thing all over. It's almost like the same thing all over again. I'm sure, just like every other Mets fan, speechless as always. And now look, the positives are that we've made it this far without him. But I mean, obviously, you would love him for a playoff push. You would love him for a division title push. But it looks like he's going to be out now for the rest of the regular season. So hopefully the Mets can stay in their wild card positioning, and we can have him back by the playoffs. And I can't believe this is happening. Like, I can't believe I'm making this video right now. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like literally so flustered. I don't know what else to say. But now that means that the Mets will probably be in the market for another starting pitcher. We said before that they could possibly be buying and selling. They could be selling off some of their veteran starting pitchers that are on expiring contracts. Doesn't seem like the case anymore now with this. And now they look like they could be in the market for a starting pitcher. And we talked before about Garrett Crochet, of course, probably top target. And maybe a former Met that could be on his way back. And, we'll take a look at that. We'll switch the topic to that. Chris Bassitt, currently on the Toronto Blue Jays. He's on a large contract. He's due, I think, around $22 million next season. And that's something that the Blue Jays definitely don't want. So, this could be a good target. We already saw the Toronto Blue Jays trade Yimi Garcia. So they could possibly be in the sell mode right now. We haven't heard too much about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette yet. Oh, and I forgot to say, they just traded Danny Jansen to the Boston Red Sox. So it is pretty safe to say that the Blue Jays are more likely looking to sell some of their mid-tier players that seem expendable to them. And Chris Bassitt definitely fits that regimen, as we will take a look at his stats this season. He's made 21 starts, super durable guy as always. Remember, Chris Bassitt, former Met, was on the 22 playoff team, was a great arm that we had. He was our number 3 starter, provided us with a lot of innings and a lot of good moments. But his ERA is up there. He's at 3.78, 112 strikeouts on the year. He's allowed 11 home runs. So, 35 years old. He's on the back end of his career. He's not having his best year. And, with him being due a lot of money next year, it could be possible that the Mets could be willing to take on something like this. Obviously, the Blue Jays would definitely have to send over some cash with us to help pay off his contract. But this could be a viable option for the Mets. And to bring back Chris Bassitt, who will most definitely be on the market this trade deadline, this could be a good option for the Mets to bring back another former player to their squad, as I've previously recorded some videos on some other former Mets non-pitchers that could be on their way back. But to say the least, Chris Bassitt could be a good option, as we will take a look at another option. Actually, first, I do like this tweet from Metsnark. He said, looks like Blue Jays will be sellers. Mets should go get Chris Bassitt. He's due $22 million next year, but it's worth it. He threw 200 innings pitched in 2023 and averaging almost 6 innings per start this year, and that's slightly less than Luis Severino, who's technically having a really good year for the Mets, and he leads the AL in wins last year. So, he obviously thinks they should go get him. Chris Bassitt, good option. I like it as long as we are not paying off his entire contract, as we are not taking on that entire $22 million for next year. Remember, we are still paying off Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander for their large contracts. So that is something that you have to take in consideration, especially with David Stearns, who's probably going to look for a big splash in free agency this offseason, especially with the way this team is performing right now. They are 5 games, 7, I'm pretty sure 6 games. They are losing 4-0 to the Braves right now, so maybe it's about to go back down to 5. They are 6 games above 500, and they're in the top wild card spot. And David Stearns is definitely going to be looking to get over that hump in the offseason, and taking on some type of money like this may not be the best idea. So that is why this is an option that you kind of got to stuff in your back pocket a little bit. And, talk to the Blue Jays and, see what they're really looking for when it comes to a deal like this. But, if you want to go to the cheaper route, which is something that they're definitely going to be looking at doing, you could look at a guy like Erick Fedde. Erick Fedde, currently on the Chicago White Sox, who are in a big sell mode right now. You could easily take off his hands. We just saw... I just saw Ken Rosenthal write that the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers, who are both in the wild card race, especially the Cardinals, they are hovering right around where the Mets are at. They could be in the market for Erick Fedde. They're the ones drawing the most interest for him. But of course, we all know the Mets, they don't like to really release a lot of information, what they're doing at the deadline, what they're doing in the offseason. A lot of their stuff does stay on the down low. So I feel like the Mets could easily be in some sort of talks for a guy like this, like Erick Fedde. And we will take a look at his stats as well. Excuse me. He has made one less start than Chris Bassitt this year at 20. But he is at a 2.98 ERA. And at 31 years of age and, with 700 win percentage and 104 strikeouts, he is having a very good year at 31 years of age, and this could be another a very underrated option. He's having a very good year. He's always done good He's always pitched good against the Mets, and this could be, with the White Sox in a big sell mode between him and Michael Kopech, this could be another option that you're looking for. Obviously, you're going to have to compete with some other teams, maybe get into a bidding war with them. But, it's not going to really look like it might cost you a top 15 prospect. This is a guy that may cost you like a lower 20s, 30 prospect for him, maybe multiple. So, Erick Fedde, another option. But if you want to get a little more expensive, we could talk about Jack Flaherty, who is on the top of a lot of teams' boards right now, especially with that 2.95 ERA, 18 starts on the year, has only allowed 83 hits. So he's having a hot year for the Detroit Tigers as well, who are looking like they will be in sell mode as well. We haven't heard too much about Tariq Skubal right now, but with Flaherty on an expiring deal with him being a rental, 28 years of age, this could be a guy that the Mets could easily go after, but might cost a pretty penny. And that is something that they definitely don't want to do. And, like I said, I've emphasized in previous videos, especially with this season and this offseason coming up, you're not really going to want to look to give up too many of your top prospects for some guys like this, especially deadline rentals. You really want to give up for guys that have control for next season and the season after that. Like I said before, we made a video previously about Garrett Crochet being available, and that's something that the Mets should look at, considering that he is under team control for the next 2 years. So, a lot of options here, and you're going to have to make a move sooner or later. Remember, David Stearns, or, I think SNY reported that the Mets are really going to be looking to make some more last-minute decisions at the trade deadline. That might not be the case anymore, considering what this injury to Kodai Senga has happened. You might need to be a little bit more aggressive now and make sure that, if there's an option out there that you're looking at, you kind of got to go for it, considering that you don't want some options to slip away and then have a depleted and below average pitching staff going into the wild card round. And that is really all I have for you guys here today. Like I said before, make sure you guys bug at my face. Make sure you guys subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video. Remember, we will have everything up to date: trade rumors, roster moves, I already said rumors, so why did I say it again? I have no idea. But I'm gonna head out now, guys, and make sure you guys subscribe, like the video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and let's go Mets.